My thoughts are that, unfortunately, we did see this delay in the Western response. And, you know, Zoye mentioned in his recent Zoom-in video, he said, he mentioned it as a question. He said, did China do everything right? No. There's things to revisit. There's mistakes that are made. There's reforms that need to be made. When you are facing a crisis, no human being, so it doesn't have to do with politics, no human being is capable of reacting as quickly as they're supposed to in hindsight. And you extend that and say the exact same thing about countries. So we know that no country can handle it perfectly, especially when facing something brand new. But I feel more disappointed about the delays in the West because they were even longer and they had advance warning. You know, China was dealing with something brand new. One case, two cases through December, trying to figure out what was going on and really wanting to get a handle on it. And then finally, by January 1st, okay, then they informed WHO and CDC was on the ground in China and it started going. But then weeks and weeks later, even after being informed, the West delayed, and now look at what's happening. It's really disappointing, especially when you look at the underlying reasons as to why.
Well, Mario, China has been blamed by some countries for the outbreak, so which is something you discussed in your opinion piece. Something's not right here, folks. So what do you think is behind such reactions?
You know, what's behind such reactions to blame China is the emotional frustration of needing a scapegoat, more than the reality of the facts on the ground. I'm particularly interested and upset this last 3-4 days by calls for China to be sued in the court to pay trillions of dollars in damages. And going back to my article's original argument, right? If you recall, this is why the article ended up with 2 million views, which is really quite incredible, is because I said, wait a minute. When in 2009 H1N1 came out, well, the CDC identified it as a brand new virus. They'd never seen it before. What did they subsequently do? Unfortunately, the answer is not much. And then they didn't lock the country down. They didn't do anything like China. Look what China did. We locked the country down to stop a disaster. But it's looking like it wasn't enough because the West is hesitating. What H1N1 is, it went on to kill somewhere from 200,000 to 575,000 worldwide. Now that's according to the CDC. We hope this virus doesn't get that far. Did anyone ask America, did anyone go to court to sue America for that? No. So you see how absurd it is. It's just rooted in politics, the chaos of politics and power fights, even in a humanitarian crisis. This is wrong.
And Mario, as China sends aid to other countries fighting the pandemic, some are accusing it of using this as an opportunity to, quote, export its governance models. What is your take on that?
Well, that's also a very interesting point because I like to relate that back to the narrative regarding President Trump. You know, as we all understand, President Trump was unexpectedly elected in the United States. He was elected on a populist platform, and it shocked the Democrats and the people on the left. And no matter what President Trump does, he could smile and say, have a nice day. And they'll find a way to criticize that, right? So no matter what, they're going to spin the narrative to be negative no matter what he does. Now, when it comes to China with the virus, we see that same game being played by the legacy media and other key players, even in the Trump administration, that no matter what China does, they're going to spin it in the negative. And so we have a situation where, one, China did, how do we say, a remarkable job of bringing the virus under control, sending 30,000 healthcare workers to Wuhan, getting it under control there, getting it under control in all the other provinces, including Liaoning, where we are. You know, I'm here 20 years. I'm on the ground. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. And yet, here they are, you know, making this accusation. China, after it gets it under control in its own country, What would the adult in the room do? That's what the adult does. Start helping everyone else. This is the humanitarian effort to help the countries who helped us when we needed help. That's normal. That's what you're supposed to do. That's humanity. I'm sorry, but I don't buy that it's politics at all.